Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day today. Welcome back to the show, and in this video we're going to be doing a review for Iron Man, which came out in 2008. To just hop right into it, Iron Man, it's a pretty good film. So it came out the same year as like The Dark Knight, so just before the 2010s when superhero movies became a lot more common and just started coming out like every year. The thing that definitely works best about this movie is Robert Downey Jr. as the lead character, and even the other side characters. The actors just do a really good job, and so this movie just works really well as a whole, and it does a really good job of taking the Tony Stark / Iron Man character from the comics and adapting it into live action. Also, the villain in this movie is really good, and this movie is also like 2 hours long, but it doesn't feel like it. It barely even feels like it's an hour and a half. It just moves at a pretty quick pace, and it just has like a very thin plot, which isn't a bad thing at all. I mean, basically the whole plot is just about how Tony Stark, he's for the weapons that his company's making, and then he's against them after seeing the negative side effects, and then his corrupt business partner becomes evil. And there are a lot of things I feel like in this movie that would be considered generic by today's standards, but because this came out at a time when comic book superhero movies weren't as common, there's just a lot more novelty to it. Like, there's a shot of Iron Man picking up a car with his suit. It's just very classic superhero stuff. Even the villain, like, he basically just turns into an evil Iron Man, which a lot of times in these types of movies, the villain is just an evil version of the main character, like Reverse Flash or Yellow Jacket, that kind of stuff. But it just really works in this movie in a way that it doesn't in others. Now, with that said, I do think a lot of people consider this movie to be a little bit better than it actually is because of nostalgia, which, I mean, that's a factor. I don't personally think it's like a 10 out of 10 absolute masterpiece, but I do think it is a very good film with few problems, and the problems are pretty minor. I think that the theme music in this movie, it's pretty good when you're watching the movie, but it's nowhere near as good as other superhero movies' theme music, like the Avengers movies or the Danny Elfman Batman score. You're not going to be listening to the Iron Man theme on YouTube. And then this is just a very tiny nitpick, but I felt like in the movie there's this scene where he's communicating to Pepper Potts, where she just kind of like stands there, and it's just a little bit awkward the way the scene was shot because the camera doesn't switch angles at all. So that just kind of felt a little weird to me. But as I said, it's a pretty well made film, and I really like the Iron Man suits that you get in this film, because obviously you have the one he made in the cave, the silver one, and Mark III, which is just classic right out of the comics. So this is definitely a movie that it just knows what it's going for, it knows what it's doing, and it does very well at that. Now, I will say I do think it does a little bit better at the action and some of the jokes than it does at emotion. Not saying that there isn't any emotion in here, but it's not quite as good as I think they could have done. Still, though, overall, this is a very good movie. And on the quality scale of 0 to 100, I will give it an 85%. I definitely recommend it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.